Do you feel like you're drowning in content? A lot of students have asked me, how do you deal with the massive information overload and the massive content amount in bio? So the first thing to realize is that you don't have to learn every single detail in the textbook. There are a lot of FYI things which are good to know, but as for the points which are really important, it's not everything. It's usually even less than what they put in your school notes that is really important to know. So you might be like, okay, what is it that is really important to know? How do I differentiate and just choose to study the things which are really important? I've done that for you already. So in my free notes, you can download the free notes. I'll get my editor to put a link in the description of this video. It's ThatBioTutor.com/notes. So it will be relevant to you if you are taking O-level pure bio in Singapore. So now you look at the notes and you know what's important to study for, but there's still quite a lot of things. I agree. There's still a lot of content. So how do we learn it in a way that doesn't overwhelm you? Understand, don't memorize. So make sense of the content. Do not look at it as random individual facts that you need to remember this point, that point, but more like everything is connected and then you can grab those points together as one and okay, now I just have to memorize this thing instead of so many scattered points. I'll give you an example. Blood types. There are 4 blood types: A, B, AB, and O. And in each of these, you will also learn in your syllabus what are the antigens on top of the red blood cells for each of these blood types. Plus, you will learn what are the antibodies that are in the blood plasma of these 4 different types. Example, for blood type A, the antigen on their red blood cells is called the A antigen. And the antibodies they have in their blood plasma is anti-B antibodies, meaning it targets the B antigen. That's just one. Now do that for all the 4 blood groups. And you might realize there's so much information to memorize. But that's if you look at it as, oh, this is random individual points. Instead, I want you to look at it as one concept. So you're just memorizing one concept. Okay, the way I like to explain this is that the antigens on top of the red blood cells are like people holding up passports. So if you're in a certain country, you must have the passport to be in that country. My passport allows me to be in this country, Singapore. So does yours, right? And let's say that, I went to some other country and I don't have their passport. So I can go as a tourist. Eventually, they're going to catch me because I can't stay there forever. So that's kind of what the body does with red blood cells. If it is your own red blood cell, let's say you're a blood type A person, and so your red blood cells are holding up the A passport because they have the A antigens on them. Your immune system will be like, okay, this is supposed to be with us. This is one of our own. But if someone with blood type B donates red blood cells to you, they have the B antigen, which is like a passport, holding up that they are from B and they're not A. So your body has policemen patrolling, which are the antibodies. They're patrolling in the bloodstream and they will look out for whoever's not supposed to be there. So if you're blood type A, who is not supposed to be there is B, right? You have anti-B antibodies looking out for who's not supposed to be there. So they will find this B red blood cell, which has the B passport on it, and they will catch him. So they will clump that one up and it will be destroyed. So if there's too many of these B red blood cells injected into you, then that could cause a blood clot potentially because of all the agglutination clumping that happens. Now with this, right, I've just memorized what does A blood type have on their antigens, what antibodies do they have inside their blood plasma. And I can apply the same concept to blood type B. For B, it's just the opposite of what I said. For blood type AB, now their red blood cells have 2 passports, the A and the B. So in their bloodstream, they will have no antibodies because there is no point attacking either A or B because both of them are present in the host body already. And for blood type O, it's O because it's like 0. There's nothing there. There's no passport at all, A nor B. The antibodies in the bloodstream will be anti-A and anti-B because both these passports are not supposed to exist in that person's body. This is why O cannot receive blood from anyone else except for O, and blood type AB can receive from everyone. So I hope this example proved to you that you don't have to memorize each of those little details by themselves. It is one concept and I just memorize it all together. This is how to bring the huge syllabus and with so much content and you kind of compress it. Just like on your computer when you have a big file, then you can right click and you can click compress or zip the file and converts it to a zip file. And so then you can see that how many MB it took up, the space, actually reduces. So that's what you want to do with bio as well. Don't memorize each thing separately. Condense it, compress it just like a zip file, and it will take up less space in your brain. And that means that it's easier to memorize, it's easier to take out to recall, and you can store more things in there. Okay, what next? Now teach someone. Teach someone who needs help about this concept. You can teach them this concept or any other concept that you want to apply this for because it will help you with understanding it. When you teach someone, like what I just did just now about the antibodies thing, before I could say that, I needed to process it in my head. I needed to simplify the concept and to clarify the words I wanted to use, and that made me more clear about what I'm teaching you. So I benefit when I teach you. So you will benefit when you teach your friends. Not only will they learn, but you will be helping yourself memorize and understand better. I've had my own students told me that they did this with their friends and they said it helped them. So ironically, by helping others, you are actually helping yourself, maybe even more. Next, learn the memory shortcuts and memory hacks. I've made them for you. It's in our free notes, which is again free to the whole public of Singapore. So go download it in the link below. And these memory shortcuts and memory hacks will help you with memorizing big chunks of content, especially when there are many keywords to memorize. So I've made acronyms, mnemonics, and you can enjoy all the things in there. You know what's funny is that I know there are students who download my free notes, but they don't even open it or study it. Even though there's so much good stuff, like so many memory shortcuts and memory hacks in there to help you reduce the difficulty of the syllabus. So if you're one of those, then you really should open up the notes and take a look. And lastly, we can't forget to talk about answering questions. I think it was through answering questions that you realize how much you lacked in terms of content knowledge, and that's why you felt that, wow, this is quite overwhelming. There's a lot of content. Here's the good news. When it comes to answering questions, most questions you can prepare for them. You can prepare by learning the commonly asked questions. These are the questions that keep coming out in prelim papers, in TYS papers, in assessment books. They will always come up because they are the main concepts that are linked to the syllabus learning outcomes. And so it actually gets quite repetitive. You want to know what the CAQs are? I have actually put them in my free notes as well, and my model answers for how to answer them. So now not only would you know what is the important questions to prepare for, you can also actually learn exactly how to answer them to score full mark. And soon, if you do a few practice papers and you've already studied the CAQs, you will realize it gets boring because it gets repetitive. When you reach that point, it means that you have largely mastered what can come out. And when you know what will come out, it's no longer gonna feel so overwhelming.